Aloha and welcome to the Empowered Empath podcast. Today, I want to go over some stuff about energy clearing, particularly because there's some things that you should be doing right now that I think that you're going to find helpful. And I'm noticing a lot of people struggling around me with this. And that's when I decided I really need to do a podcast on this because it's causing some people some issues, etc. We always go over the energy reports, right? So a lot of people listen because they want to get the updates on the energy reports, which everybody finds helpful. And there's some really sort of, I don't know, I guess I would say jacked up energy right now. And we will have these, these waves every time here, time and again or whatever. But with this particular one that's been coming through, and I've noticed it's really affecting a lot of people, I just want to go over energy clearing a little bit because the people who it's been affecting, I've been kind of reminding, and even it sort of affected me in a way that I had to remind myself. And I'm like, okay, if I have to remind myself, I definitely need to remind my listeners and students and everybody to get back into the process of energy clearing. And so this is something I'm sure you've heard about. People talk about, sage clearing and energy clearing, but there's all different ways that you can do clearings, right? There's all different healers that do different types of clearing. Like I said, there's the sage where you're doing some physical clearing, and it can start to become confusing, but I'm going to simplify this down for you in a very easy to manage way. When we're speaking of energy clearing, you need to understand kind of why we're doing what we're doing. You know how that you maintain your physical house, you're dusting, you're clearing out clutter, you're doing some energetic maintenance, or not energetic, I'm all about the energy right now. You're doing some physical maintenance, like you're fixing things, you're painting, you're trying to keep your physical environment pretty good. But in order to keep it pretty good and not have it deteriorate over 1, 2, 5, 10 years, you have to do upkeep. You have to dust, you have to clean, you have to wash dishes and sheets and everything like that, right? Well, the same goes for your energetic house. But this can be a little bit more confusing for some people, and it can also be a little bit easier to forget, because the way that that energy clearing, if you're not doing it, the way that affects your life is different than it affects your physical life, right? Because your physical life, you're constantly having reminders. You're seeing things visually. But when your energetic house is really mucked up and has not had the proper energetic maintenance, where you tend to notice is things that people will brush off as everyday stuff. And what I mean by that is they don't correlate it to their energetic house, their spiritual house, and they separate it into two different things. Because what happens energetically is it will start to affect you on an emotional level and how things feel to you. So how we've kind of been trained is we've been trained to feel things through our body and then correlate those to an emotion, and then that emotion we will correlate towards an event or a situation or a fear or a worry. So how that process typically works throughout the day would be, if you're starting to feel like you're irritated and agitated, or you're upset, or you're depressed, or things aren't joyful, because if it's joyful, don't mess with it, right? But if you're feeling some not so awesome emotions, what I call low vibration emotions, what the process your brain typically goes through is it goes, okay, I have to put an event or a situation and attach it to this, or a fear or a worry or whatever, and then I will sort through it that way. What's not taken into consideration when things like that happen is how sensitive people are receiving a lot of information in the spiritual realm, spiritual environment, the energetic environment, and they're processing that information the same way that they're processing other information, such as situations and events and things that are physically happening. You're still processing the same stuff energetically. There's all this energetic information out there. All energy holds a story. It holds stories that are manifesting. It holds stories from the past. The energy will create your story. And I'm going to actually get into that in a different podcast. And then we're going to get into some with ascension energy. But you are being able to read and pick up on these stories. And the more sensitive that you are, the more tuned in that you are, you will be affected by some of the frequencies in these energy waves. You will be affected in ways that you might, or a lot of times your brain will correlate to a real life current event happening or situation. You're not necessarily separating that from this is a vibrational tone, a vibrational frequency that is carrying this information, but it's not necessarily correlated to my personal life. It's just more on a different level of, it could be like across the world, it could be from other people. It doesn't necessarily have to correlate to your life, and it can be just from the spirit realm and how low frequency vibrations come in. And that's where I really want to talk to you about why we're going to be really careful about energetic clearing right now, and why it's going to be very, very important. Because as we're working with this ascension energy, which again, I'm going to have to do a whole different podcast on it. It is coming. As we're working with that energy, there will be cracks, and there's going to be waves where you're always going to have the light and the dark struggling. You're going to have the high frequency energy, the low frequency energy. They're going to constantly be dancing and manipulating around for the primary frequency. They're going to want to always overtake the other one. It's just the way it's been for hundreds of thousands of years. It's going to be the way it's always going to be, but there's going to be a constant struggle for control and wanting to manipulate the waves. And so that is just what it is. But we need to be able to feel through that a little bit, detach what's going on in our life from that, and then be able to have some energetic maintenance. And what I mean by that is there's been some real strong low frequency energy recently. We talked about it, or I talked about it in the energy report that I just did, I think last week. And it's continuing on. It's not all low. There's some highs in there. But the last few days, there's been quite a crevice of a crack where low frequency energy from the spirit realm has really kind of maneuvered its way in. And how do I know that? How would you know that? Because typically when that starts happening, it's pretty easy for me to tell, specifically for myself, because that spiritual energy will maneuver itself into your energetic field via thoughts. And these are things that people feel like they're their own thoughts. They're their own triggery stuff. They're having their own thought train. This spiritual energy is way trickier than that. And that's why it's really good to know all aspects of the spirit realm and your spiritual senses, your psychic senses, when you're developing, because you get a better understanding of what you're working with. And when you don't understand that there can be definite outside influences as far as energy goes, and definitely spiritual outside influences that can come into your thought process, then it helps you to understand and separate better. And the way that you need to kind of look at that is most psychic information from psychics and mediums and whatnot, they are received through a thought process and a feeling, right? They are received through thoughts, images, and feelings. Well, how do you do your regular stuff through the day? Your own thought, your own fears, worries, how you process your day physically is through thoughts, imagery, and feelings. So because you are doing it in your everyday physical day, it's super easy for any spiritual influences to come into your life and then use that process that you're used to using and make you think it's something going on in your life. Now, why they want to do that is again very sneaky, because then you don't separate it from yourself and remove it and harp on it. It becomes a part of your reality, and when it becomes a part of your reality, you consume it and you keep it in your energetic story. Therefore, you lower your own vibration, and that's the ultimate goal, is for any spiritual low vibration spiritual influence, their goal is to sort of attack your vibration in a sense and keep the vibration on the lower scale. They don't want you moving up on a higher scale. That they want you to be with them and on the dark side and whatever, and they want you to join their club, and that creates their power stance to be bigger, you know? And so while you're maintaining your physical body, you need to maintain spiritual body through energetic clearing. And there's a lot of ways that you can do that. Like I said, there's a lot of healers. There's a lot of processes out there where, you know, they're adjusting chakras and they're using Reiki and there's all these things. But you don't need to go to anybody to do energetic clearing. And that is the super cool part. All you have to do is be trained in it and learn how to do it. The even more simpler way, my most favorite way, is through meditation. It's a fantastic, absolutely phenomenal way to do energetic clearing. And it is one of the most proactive ways. It is one of the most powerful ways that you will find. And the cool thing about that, because I'm sure you're like, oh, great. Now, first of all, I don't know what type of meditation to do. And second of all, what am I supposed to just make this up? Where do I get it? Etc., etc. I actually am working on a meditation library right now that I'm hoping will be up in the next couple of days. And I have several that you can choose from for depending on where you're at. I'm going to get into that stuff in a little bit. But until I get the library going, you will just want to use any meditation that you've already probably have. I have the Chi meditation that's free that you can find on my YouTube channel. I have also an angel protection meditation or angel clearing meditation that you can find there. But if you are feeling like the last few days you're feeling not so good vibrations, feeling sad, feeling upset, feeling depressed, feeling just off kilter, even if you feel like it's tied to a certain event, I'd like you to ask yourself, how much energy clearing have you done lately? Have you done any energy clearing currently? Have you done it yesterday? Did you do it today? Have you been keeping it as a maintenance routine? Have you been doing that? Because you really want to question it from an outside perspective, not just like, oh yeah, no, I know this, I know that. No, you want to really visit, at this point in time, you want to really visit your energetic maintenance routine. And why meditation? Why is that my favorite? Why would you want to do meditation? Because, well, especially the meditations I create, you are really working with your energetic house. You are working with outside energies. You are working to clear energies. You are learning the process of keeping your energetic house clean. You can move energy with your thoughts in your mind, and that gets into universal laws, and it gets into also, if you want to go in a really cool, positive way, it gets into manifestation, it gets into all that. And the types of meditations that like I create, it really trains you to work with universal energy. It trains you to be able to feel the different vibrations, and it trains you to be able to clear out any low vibrations, trains you to pull in high vibration energy, this isn't just by chance that you're just going to necessarily raise your vibration. There are instances, and there are a lot, everybody is actually moving up the vibrational frequency scale right now with this ascension energy. However, you can have a lot more insight on it, and you can have a lot more control on what your vibrational frequency is. And a lot of people think that how they do that is through, I don't know, years and years of teachings and classes and all that, but it doesn't have to be that hard. You can have a lot more control over your vibrational frequency by just having knowledge. And the two important things are, you want to keep at bay any low frequency emotions: sad, depressed, worry, fear. Those things you can be very conscious of, that when you're experiencing any low frequency emotions, your body is going to start creating this low frequency story that then hangs out in your energetic field. It's just the way it is. So it's very simple and easy to pay attention to that and monitor your thoughts and feelings, and making sure that you're making choices that align with happiness, excitement, passion, creativity, because those are all high vibrational frequencies. And so that's a very simple way to start. However, even if you're concentrated a lot on that, there can be times and days with these energy waves, because if you're a very sensitive person, you're going to be, think of it like the weather. So like there's days that you're like ready for sun, and it's, you're feeling good, and then you get up and it's raining or snowing or whatever it is, and then you're like, oh, well, this feels more like a down day. That type of thing can happen to you energetically. I've been working on this positivity and happiness and passion and creativity, and then just something feels off today. Like I feel a little weird, off balance, sad, whatever. And that's when you know that you need to work with this energy, and you need to make sure that you're clearing your space, and you're working on this. And so you can work on your emotions and paying very good attention to that, but you also will want to make sure that you are working on your energetic house through meditation. Now, this is something that can, if you're not consistent at meditating and you're not into it, and let me tell you, I was so not into meditation for so long. In fact, if people mentioned it to me, and it's funny because I grew up in a household that's what my dad did like all the time. Like I grew up with this. I mean, and I'm talking for like 2-hour meditations, like insane meditations, right? And I got to my 20s, and my eyes would just be like, really, don't even talk to me about meditation, because meditation at that time, it just felt like such a struggle, and it was boring to me, and I didn't find the purpose in it, and I just didn't feel like there was an end game there, and it didn't feel like it enhanced my life. I was just like, there's no way I was going to do energetic maintenance. But as I started developing more of my senses, like they weren't developed enough already, and then realizing how helpful it was. But here was the kicker for me. The kicker for me was discovering meditations that were actually more fun for me to do. They felt good doing it. I could feel a shift in my body immediately. I could feel like when I would feel the shift in my body, even just like I'm sure a lot of you have told me about the chi meditation, but just those meditations that I do where you start feeling joy or happiness or that higher vibration, a euphoric feeling, just purely from doing the meditative process of that particular meditation. And so the key for me was to really find some meditations that I really aligned with, and that I felt the frequency was higher, because it actually made me want to do the meditations. Like I missed doing the meditations. And so some of the old meditations that, first came to my attention and might have come to you, those, you don't have to do meditations a certain way. They don't have to be boring. They don't have to be just like torture. Like, oh God, I got to do this now. I want to feel better and I don't have time. They should be ones that you're like, wow, I have a minute and oh, this feels so good and I'm going to remember to do this, meditation. So that's what all my meditations are based on. That's how they were created. And they were ones that were created in a way that I absolutely love doing them. I find them joyful. And the more that I've learned to connect with meditations and build my own meditation library in a way that felt fun for me and joyful, and it felt like it was working, and I felt powerful after the meditations. The other meditations I would do, and I just want to go down this road for a minute, because if you are doing meditations that feel like a struggle, that you're just like, forcing yourself to do, and you don't feel like, wow, I really enjoyed that afterwards, search for another meditation. Just keep searching, because they're all different, and you really should be able to find one that you are enjoying, that is making you feel better after you're done in a way that you are going to remember it later. So that is one thing that I wanted to point out. And when I started receiving, because my meditations they're given to me, they're channeled, I receive them, I ask for certain things to fix or work on, and I'm just given this whole system with lights and a story behind why that I'm doing these certain lights in this certain order, and then I try them, and if I like them, which usually when they're given to me, I don't remember one that I haven't liked, but anyways, if I like them, then I will record them, and then I will give them out to people and say, hey, what do you think about this? And they're usually like, wow, that was amazing. And then I will start giving them to my clients or my classes and things like that. But I decided not everybody wants to be in classes, but meditation is going to be very important for those who are sending with this energy right now and those who are sensitive. And so now I'm just going to be offering my meditation library out to anybody who just wants to do meditation. And they're going to be like, some will be free, some will be $4.99 to $9.99, but they're not going to be more expensive than that. So you will want to be paying attention to your meditative process. I can't express enough how important that is. But also finding meditations that you enjoy and want to add into your routine, that's also going to be important. And the other thing that's good to do when you're working on keeping your energetic house clean and clearing energy is you don't have to do the same meditation all the time. In fact, I use several different meditations for several different things. If I feel like maybe somebody needs I don't know, let's say you're not feeling so well physically, then I'll do a different meditation. If we've had people in our house for an event or something, I'll do a different meditation for that. If I feel like I'm holding on to fear or worry, I'll do like a cutting cords type of meditation. Or if I feel, do you see what I mean? Like I use different meditations for different things all the time. And that I also think is very helpful, is to not always be using the same meditation over and over. You really should find meditations that you enjoy and keep them in your own meditation library for go-to different types of scenarios. What you would use this one for, what you would use that one for, and switch it up. It's kind of like if you did the same exercise routine at the gym every single day for like ever, you wouldn't even enjoy it anymore. It'd just be like a drag, and your brain goes on autopilot. That's another thing. Meditations will do the same thing. So you don't want to do that where you're just constantly doing the same one. In fact, I highly don't suggest you do the same one over and over again. I suggest you have a little bit of variety so that you know what to do with them. And all meditations, or my meditations, and actually I feel like all meditations, they should kind of have a specific purpose. So yes, you're going to be doing clearing with most of them, but I know, for instance, with mine, and this is something for you to look for when you're looking for meditations, they should have different purposes. So like if you're spiritually developing, doing a lot of spiritual work, you're a healer, you should be using certain types of meditations. If you are just wanting to advance your frequency and really tune in with high frequency energy, you should be working with a different type of meditation. If you're looking for psychic protection, you've been having bad dreams, you are worried about, just spiritual junk, you should be using a different type of meditation. If you've been doing too much spirit work and you need to be grounded better, you should be using a grounding meditation. So there are many different types of meditations for many different types of things. And if that kind of freaked you out and you're like, oh my gosh, which one am I supposed to do? You just really kind of read through the meditations of whatever it is that you're using, or understand what type of meditation that you have, and then use that for, whatever you feel like you need the most at the moment. Clearing is going to be huge. You want to releasing any fears and worries right now. Any meditation will work right now. Protective meditation, raising your vibration meditation, any of that will actually work because you're just working with clearing the energy of your energetic house. And so some of the people, family members, loved ones who came to me recently and said, you know what, I'm really struggling with this. And I'm like, oh yeah, have you been meditating? They're like, oh, that's so weird you asked, because I forgot yesterday or the day before. And I'm like, yep, we need to get back into that. Anyways, so energetic clearing is super important. You're going to be wanting to really concentrate on doing that now. And you're going to want to make sure this is part of your energetic maintenance routine right now, especially if you're feeling, actually not right now, right? Like forever. You will forget. Just, it's okay to forget. And then you'll remember after you feel like low vibration emotions again. But that should be your indicator. And even if it is attached to a situation or event, if something happens where it's attached to a situation or event and your emotions are starting to feel sad or upset or worried or whatever, that is also still a very good time to do a clearing, because your vibration lowers, right? And your frequency lowers. So then you become, it's like lowering your spiritual immune system. So you become wide open for other low vibration energies to now find you, want to get into your story, want to manipulate themselves into your thoughts to make it even lower. So you become a magnet for lower vibration frequencies. So that's also a good time to be really protecting your energetic house, really clearing your house to keep all the extra outside low vibration stuff out of your way while you're working through whatever it is you need to work through with a fear, worry, or situation. So regardless of if it's something you're dealing with or something that you're not even dealing with, but you just feel that way, it's good to do it for either of those scenarios. Okay? So hopefully you found this helpful. A meditation routine is absolutely a must. You will want to look through, create a variety. You will want to find something that you're enjoying, that you look forward to doing. You really want to make sure that that part of your spiritual body and your spiritual house is taken care of. If you want to try to, stay in the best place as far as your vibrational frequency goes. I'm telling you, it's something that seems very simple, but it's something that is super overlooked, and everybody's really overlooking it right now. So enjoy that. Watch for my meditation library. Go find yourself a meditation. Go do it today. And if you enjoyed this podcast, please make sure to either comment below. I would love it if you would subscribe or leave a review. Those reviews are incredibly helpful. And if you want to be watching for the meditation library or whatever, if you need anything, I'm creating keystothespiritworld.com as a go-to place. Tons of blog posts, quizzes and things like that. And you can actually check your vibration over there, actually, because I made a quiz for that, checking your vibrational frequency, which is super cool. So I have lots of quizzes over there that you can check and see how you're doing as far as an empath, moonchild, how your frequency is, all, your psychic ability, all that is all over there. And I have lots of good stuff. So don't forget to comment if it was helpful. Leave a review, please, or subscribe. And maybe we'll see you over at keystothespiritworld.com. Have the most amazing day.
Introducing Instagram teen accounts, a new way to keep your teens safer as they grow, like making sure they've got the right gear for riding.
Knee pads.
Check.
And helmet?
Done. See you, Dad.
New Instagram teen accounts, automatic protections for who can contact your teen and the content they can see.